What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We did a video a couple days back. Um, if you guys want to, please check it out. Memento broke me. That's the title. I'm gonna do more catchy titles like that. Still, obviously, have relevance to the review, but also to sort of hopefully get some viewership up. Because that's always nice when I can grow stuff out, do more things. Anyway, today's review is Saltburn, which I'm sure many people have at least read the articles online about Barry Keoghan's dick. That is featured in the movie. But did I like the movie? Was the movie good? And let me just say first off, no, it's not. And honestly, I wouldn't waste your time. This isn't the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And in fact, actually, it rates decently high compared to a lot of bad movies, to the point where I think many people probably think, well, Braden, do you actually hate this movie? But I do. Because it's not, it's just not good either. It's very middle of the pack. It's very, it's trying to do too much and yet also doing nothing at all. And I don't even know how else to explain that other than kind of telling you what happens in the movie to where there's not much happening, but still a lot happening. So the movie is about an Oxford student who kind of grows infatuated with another student. He goes to Saltburn, which is the student's place of residence. It's a very big castle. And I guess she grows an infatuation with the castle. So he grows an infatuation with Saltburn, but this whole time you're supposed to believe that he cares about the character. He cares about Jacob Elordi's character. And he just doesn't the whole time. And yet there's this huge reveal at the end of this movie where it's revealed that Barry Keoghan's character only cares about, and I'm sorry I'm not going to get all their names. I know he's Oliver. That's as far as I really get, honestly. I'm really bad with names. Really, really, really bad with names. Unless this is a franchise, I'm never going to get everybody's names, so you just have to bear with me there. He reveals to the mother of Jacob Elordi's character and the mom of the household as she's dying that he has every moment to this point kicking out his the nephew of the household staying there. He also goes to Oxford, and I know his last name is, what is it? Ah, man, I don't even remember. Start. His last name is Start. That's all I remember. He doesn't. He gets kicked out, and Barry Keoghan sort of frames him, and I knew that that happened. But every play that he had been making up to that point, what ends up happening in the movie is Jacob Elordi's character commits suicide, um, and or I said Jacob Elordi. I said Jacob Elordi, and his sister does the same. And you're meant to think that every moment, every move he's made has been, like, oh, they both just did it. They both just couldn't live without each other, and so they both did it. Every move he's made has been to try to get this house, and nothing he does in the beginning of this movie to until Elordi dies is at all to get the house. Not even close. Every move he makes is to make sure that that doesn't like, he doesn't care. Like, I know he wants it, but he did grow an actual infatuation with Elordi's character, and so I think here is the filmmaker's way of showing us that Barry wants, or we'll call him by his real name because I know it. Oliver, his real name, his character's name. Oliver wants. Damn, what is his name? I'm gonna lose my mind about Jacob's character, but he wants him until he dies. And I think he's trying to hide the fact that he wants that. And he makes it into the house. I think that is what the movie's trying to say, is that he's an unreliable narrator. He pretends that everything has been working up towards this one goal, but that was never his goal in the first place. It became his goal once he was told by the nephew that he was never going to get it. But honestly, this movie is astounding to me in that it's so bland. Like I said, it's trying to do a lot and yet does nothing. Because it really is bland. The jig is up the second that Jacob Elordi's character dies. Absolutely. That is when this movie completely goes off the hinges. And it doesn't work past that. And I don't even know if it's meant to. Like I think you're meant to know the objective of Oliver at that point. But to say it's almost like they're tricking their viewer into being like, haha, it was actually all a very smart move by him. No, it wasn't. I watched it. He wasn't trying for that in the beginning. His objectives are unclear from the start, and yet we run in this weird circle where it's like he does something so idiotic, so stupid, and everyone agrees with him. Like, why was he even at the house? Like, how was he able to stay? Why did the mother like him? These aren't even things that the movie attempts to address nor care about. Like, I don't even understand why the mother had such an attachment to Oliver. It doesn't even make sense. If you watch the movie, there's not really ever a point where they have true connect. They have like one or two scenes where they have like a true connection. Every other time, they don't. It baffles me. But it doesn't just baffle me. I'm actually like upset. Like I'm not just confused, I'm upset because this movie could have done so much better in explaining the goals and ambitions and really making um Oliver a real mastermind, a real genius, and they just dropped the ball. Like it's just not good because he just doesn't ever feel really smart until the end, but at a point you're like, well, yeah, but he's still not that smart. Like the family still should just kicked him out. Like what he does doesn't make sense. But more importantly, what the family then does to try to counteract that definitely doesn't make any sense. So the movie's already bordering on absurdity. And then of course there are many vile things that happen in this movie that don't need to. Barry Keegan gets naked and then proceeds to sort of go on the dirt of Elordi's grave, and that is a real scene in the movie. Um, there's nudity, there's sex, and there's whatever the hell that is. It's not helpful. Again, if his true objective is just getting Saltburn, that's all he's ever cared about, why the hell would that scene even be in there? It doesn't even make sense. Or when he licks up Jacob's uh how shall we say remains after he's done finishing with the bathtub and he's just on the floor of the bathtub doing, licking up stuff. What's the point of that? If his only goal is Saltburn, what's the goal? What does this do for us? And the worst part is that these scenes don't matter at all. This isn't for artistic, like it's meant to show that he's a little strange, he's weird, but is that it? Because if that was all you had to do in order, it's like this movie wants to shock you, but they're doing way too much in order to shock you. And then when it comes to actually telling the story and caring about the very major details, they're like, yeah, whatever. Probably wondering, well, Braden, what'd you give this movie? Because you said it was kind of middle of the pack, and I agree, it's a 5. But why is it a 5? Well, like two of those points are just because at the end of the movie, Barry Keaton is naked and he's just dancing around, and I think that that's a fun scene. And I'm not even kidding. Because I mean, yeah, it's a little absurd, but that is a nice scene, I guess. There's nothing wrong with it. Plus, black comedy is sometimes really weird, and this is black comedy done right in a couple of ways. The absurd nature of the movie actually helps some of the comedic scenes, quote unquote, be actually funny. I'm not really a fan of black comedy, but this movie does a decent job at it. But also, obviously, there's a lot to not like about this movie. However, I love the creativity they tried to do. Like, there's a lot they tried to do and just comes up short. And I think if you let the movie chill out a little bit and you didn't throw everything in, that didn't make a whole lot of sense either. I think that yeah, you wouldn't have gotten as much press. No, there's no such thing as bad press, but a lot of press about the movie. But you also probably would have had a better movie, and there would have been better word of mouth. I don't think many people really cared too much for this movie. I could be wrong. This could be exceptional, but I don't really think it is. Um, it's not helpful too that this continues to lean into the trope of gay characters, or I guess in uh, Oliver's case, he's definitely bisexual, but them always caring just about sex, like it's just like two guys falling in love should have been a better story. And I know that's not obviously the point, but there's a lot of sex in this movie. There's not a lot of love, and it's going to set back again. It just sets back LGBT community because if you get a high profile conservative figure to comment on the movie, you know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about how it's sex infused and how, of course, gay people are at the center of it. So I don't know if that was like part of it, but it's just not helpful in these times. It's just not helpful. So I will give it a five. I think that it has creativity. It's not soulless, you know, and most of it's just bland. It's not necessarily bad. It's just bland. The stuff that is bad is counteracted by some good scenes as well, and so this has to be a five. But it's not really worth your time because even though it is decent, it's just not. It's not even decent. It's like eh. But it's just if it's not going to be worth your time because it's not astoundingly bad. It's not astoundingly good. And those are the only two types of movies I really recommend to people. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Um, I'm gonna keep making videos for you guys as often as I can. We're in a good time right now. It's my winter break, but I promise you we'll have more content coming out as much as I can do and as much as I feel is necessary. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.